Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for April the 14th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest gaming news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it's your one-stop shop for all of the hottest gaming news that you need to know. And today we start off with a story that I was going to cover yesterday, but I was not sure of the validity of. It looks like a new Crysis is almost certainly on the way. Our April Fool's 2020 roundup, they say at PC Gamer, included a mention of Crysis.com, which had been updated with a flashy new image of Nomad, or whoever, suggesting that a new take on one of PC Gaming's greatest can-you-run-it shooters might finally be on the way. It seemed especially meaningful given the CryEngine showcase video released by Crytek in March, which ends with a brief clip of what appears to be a remastered Crysis gameplay. Alas, looking at the source code on the Crysis webpage revealed that hidden among the meta tags were the words April Fool. Hope dies hard, but that's pretty unambiguous, and it seemed to be putting an end to the matter. But then today this happened, they say yesterday, and that is a receiving data tweet from the official Crysis Twitter account. This is the first tease out of the Crysis Twitter account since December 2016, a tweet which was preceded by a half a dozen other tweets that year mostly promoting merchandise, one tweet in 2015 also merchandise, and then all the way back to 2013, the year Crysis 3 was released. You can practically see the dust sitting on the brand. This is far from a routine tweet, in other words, and we are way past April 1st here, although for the record that April Fool tag is still in the source. With the traditional E3 timeframe less than 2 months away, it is not unusual for us to see game announcements begin to appear this time of the year. And though we will always think of Crysis as a PC game, a new generation of consoles could be a potential showcase for a new Crysis. I have emailed Crytek, the author says at PC Gamer, to ask, and while I don't expect anyone there is going to spill the beans, I will let you know if they do. But of course you can check out the video if you would like. It is embedded on the PC Gamer page, but right now it looks like a new Crysis project is on the way. Now, many are hypothesizing this is in fact a remake of potentially Crysis, Crysis 2, or Crysis 3, potentially even a remastered trilogy, which I think would be a pretty good move. But going into a new console generation and knowing how heavy the impact is of having tech demos, I can't imagine that this would be a necessarily bad time to release Crysis 4. I think that it could do very well in the marketplace, and it's almost guaranteed to be coming at some point because, again, Crysis is such a benchmark, literally and metaphorically speaking, for PC gaming. And so I think that it would be a perfect time to go ahead and pump out a new Crysis entry. But that is an interesting story. However, there is more to dive into, including Call of Duty Warzone has banned more players and further measures are coming. Call of Duty Warzone developer Infinity Ward has provided an update on the cheating situation in the Battle Royale game and what's being done to get rid of the offending players. Writing on Twitter, the developer said it's now banned more than 70,000 players worldwide, which is up from 50,000, and looking ahead, Infinity Ward said it continues to release dedicated security updates to crack down on cheating even further, while the developer is also beefing up the in-game reporting tools. On that subject, Infinity Ward said more details will come soon. Based on what they announced previously, players can expect a streamlined UI in the future that should allow for a more seamless reporting experience, Infinity Ward said. The studio did not share the full specifications of its plan, of course, and says that would allow offenders to game the system. However, the developer said it analyzes and filters reports of potential cheating based on key data. We are watching. We have zero tolerance for cheaters, Infinity Ward said. The full Warzone security and enforcement policy document lays out everything you need to know about offenses that can get you banned or worse. Activision's latest numbers show that Warzone has attracted some 50 million players, so it makes sense statistically there should be some bad eggs. For comparison, in a Battle Royale space, Apex Legends developer Respawn announced in March 2019 that it had banned more than 350,000 players, a number that has surely grown since then. It's good to see they are taking some action here. And for those that don't know, Warzone cheaters began to be a bit of an issue a couple of weeks back as Warzone really did peak in its popularity. And you saw a lot, and I mean a lot, of streamers online beginning to complain about the amount of cheaters they were running into. Now, admittedly, some of those cheaters were simply good players, and some people pawned off their horrible skills and blamed it on people that were cheating, even though they weren't. But I have seen with my own two eyes a lot of cheaters in the online space, especially when I am watching streams. It's clear that cheating is going on. And so I think that to be able to combat this and to be able to be proactive about it and say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how we're helping, it's a pretty good move, especially when it comes to a gaming industry that is so fluid, that has so many different people that are trying to pull at your attention span. It is worth taking the time to invest in making sure that you do have really, really good countermeasures for cheaters. And so I hope that this continues to be a priority for Infinity Ward, and I think the success they've seen with Warzone certainly does warrant it getting a good bit of attention. But unfortunately, it looks like Fortnite Chapter 2 has been delayed. I'm just kidding. It's Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 3. My bad. Who knows when these new things come out at this point. But it's been delayed. Fortnite's next season has been delayed, Epic Games announced on Tuesday. Epic pushed the start of the new season out by more than a month, from April 30th to June the 4th, and this is the first time that Season 3 has been delayed, but it is not the first delay for Fortnite Chapter 2. The game's first season lasted months longer than was originally planned, with numerous delays hitting on the way to the Season 2. While these delays may come as a disappointment to fans that were excited to see what changes Epic had in store for the upcoming season, the developer says that Fortnite will have plenty of content to keep players busy. In the blog post where it announced the delay, Epic mentions multiple game updates that will include new challenges, bonus XP, fresh gameplay, and surprises. For now, it is unclear what those things might be, but in the past, Epic has offered things like overtime challenges after delayed seasons, which sometimes give players the next season's Battle Pass for free if they complete all of the challenges. So right now, it looks like Fortnite's new season has been delayed, and you can now get your hands on it on June the 4th. And you might be reading that coverage in EGM, but unfortunately, it looks like you won't be reading it too much longer. In a letter published today, editorial director Josh Harmon said that the site would remain online for the foreseeable future, but would no longer be publishing new content. And of course, once again, this is EGM, a very big name in the gaming space, and after it just relaunched 1 year ago, shutting down again. Quote, when we started working on the latest incarnation of EGM, we firmly believed there was a need for more long-form writing features about games, for thoughtful, in-depth stories about games and the ways they intersect with culture and human stories, he wrote. Other sites were and still are publishing work in that vein, but far many more stories were going untold. We still believe in all of this, more than ever in fact, even if EGM won't be the home for these stories anymore. EGM, originally Electronic Gaming Monthly, was a physical gaming magazine founded in 1988 under Sendai Publications, later bought by Ziff Davis and discontinued in 2009. Magazine founder Steve Harris purchased the rights later that year and relaunched the publication in 2010, with print magazines running for several years after. Last year, EGM underwent a relaunch, still under Harris, as a digital-only publication focused on extended features and original reporting. This is one that really hurt for me personally, because growing up, I suppose it was probably towards the end of that first run and into the beginning of that second run that was heralded by Mr. Harris here. I really did love reading EGM growing up. I specifically remember that I would love to go to Harris Teeter with my mom, and whenever she was shopping, I would be hanging out in the magazine section, reading for, at least 30 minutes to an hour sometimes about the latest games coming out. I was loving EGM, and I bought many issues of it on top of my usual Game Informer subscription. Really good content. They had some fantastic writing. But I will admit, over the course of the past year, I have seen minimal about this publication. I have not heard many people talking about it. I have not seen many people tweeting about it. I honestly had kind of forgotten that it had relaunched, and in a space that is so inundated with content from the professional publications like you have with Game Informer and various other magazines to what I do here, where I'm just a one-man show putting out a podcast. There is a constant battle going on, competing for your attention, and I think that's something that really should be taken into consideration. So ultimately, right now, what it comes down to is that EGM is gone yet again. Could it come back? It very well could, but as for right now, it will not be up. At least not up in a new kind of way. Older entries, older publications will still continue to exist at the official EGM site. However, a Switch update finally lets you move downloaded games to an SD card and remount the buttons any way you want, because that's the way you need it, any way you want it. The latest software update for Nintendo's Switch consoles has arrived, and version 10 is finally ready to fix an issue that has plagued the system since it debuted, moving games between internal storage and an SD card. Until now, if a game was either in place and you wanted it in the other, then the only solution was to re-download it. Now, Switch owners can move downloadable software, update data, and DLC with ease. Game saves and some update data are still excluded. Another change should make gameplay accessible for many people, since you can remap the controller buttons, similar to a change Microsoft made on the Xbox One a few years ago. According to the notes, up to 5 stick and button configs can be changed for each paired controller, as long as it's a Joy-Con, the buttons on the Switch Lite system, or the Nintendo Pro Controller. There are also some new Animal Crossing related icons for your user profile and a bookmark feature for new items. Your system should grab the new update automatically, or you can start the process manually, but first and foremost, thank God. This is something that was a painful plague for many, especially those that tended to play a lot of games on the Nintendo Switch, because you can buy an enormous SD card, but at the end of the day, if you are unable to move games back and forth, it would be a pretty big hindrance to the experience. So thankfully, we are finally seeing this come to fruition. At the same time, I think it's very cool to see the accessibility options being afforded by remappable buttons. That's something that I think slips a lot of people's mind whenever you don't have to be concerned about your ability to physically play a game, but to be able to remap your controls and make a game work for you. That's a fantastic addition that doesn't take away from anybody's gaming experience. It does nothing but add to those that might not have had the best experience before. So you love to see it, and if you want to jump in right now, you can download version 10.0 for the Nintendo Switch if it has not already done so automatically. However, let's get into some freebies, shall we? Sony offers free downloads of Uncharted Collection and Journey. As part of a new play-at-home initiative, the company has also launched a $10 million fund to aid independent game studios affected by the coronavirus pandemic. To help both gamers sheltered at home and independent game studios affected by the pandemic, Sony Interactive President and CEO Jim Ryan unveiled the Play-at-Home initiative on Tuesday morning. Play at Home has two components. First, providing free games to help keep the PlayStation community entertained at home, and finally, establishing a fund to help smaller independent game studios who may be experiencing financial difficulties to continue building great experiences for all gamers, Ryan said in a blog post. As a part of the initiative, PlayStation players will be able to download Naughty Dog's Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, a 3-game collection that includes Uncharted Drake's Fortune, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, and that game company's 2012 indie adventure titled Journey for free. Players will be able to download the games for no charge from the 15th of April, 8 a.m. Pacific time through May the 5th. Users in Germany and China will not have access to the Uncharted collection. Instead, users in those two countries will be granted free digital copies of 2017's action game Knack 2 and Journey. We cannot imagine a better time for globe-trotting adventures with Nathan Drake, an iconic cast of characters, and thrilling treasure-hunting action gameplay, Ryan said of the Uncharted collection, adding of Journey. The game's life-affirming message is timeless and perhaps more important now than ever before. In addition to the free games, Sony Interactive has formed a $10 million fund to support independent game developers. Independent developers are vital to the heart and soul of the gaming community, and we understand the hardships and financial struggles that many smaller gaming studios are facing, said Ryan. More information about the fund, including criteria for participation, will be revealed at a later date. During these days of physical distancing, fans have turned to gaming for moments of respite and enjoyment, said Ryan. At Sony Interactive Entertainment, we are privileged to bring this much-needed entertainment. And I know that in addition to this tweet, they also sent out a tweet asking developers if they would be interested in submitting their games to be available for free. And this is something that, of course, I'm going to back, because who doesn't like free games? But additionally, it really does go a long way in helping people stay home, to be able to pass the time with some enjoyable games that are top-quality games at that, is something that I don't think many people expected to see from Sony, but it is certainly a welcome surprise. On top of that, Assassin's Creed 2 is free to play on PC right now, and you have 3 days to claim it. With millions of people staying at home, publishers all across the world have doled out countless sales in a bid to compete with everyone else who is doing that same thing, but naturally, free game giveaways are also part of the plan. Ubisoft is once again giving away an Assassin's Creed game for free, and this time it involves one of the most influential within the Assassin's Creed sphere, Assassin's Creed 2. Ezio's first adventure had a major impact on the series at large, spanning multiple core entries and spin-offs. If you've ever wanted to give it a try, now is your chance to trot around Italy virtually at no cost. Although many facets of Assassin's Creed 2 have since been surpassed, the origin story of Ezio himself is still worth witnessing if you've not seen it unfold already. Its direct follow-up, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, is still one of my all-time favorites, says Chris Carter over at Destructoid. The offer is good right now and will run through April 17th as part of Ubisoft's Play Your Part, Play at Home campaign, which is meant to get people to stay in to prevent the spread of the current pandemic. Of course, you can add the game to your Uplay account by visiting the article, which I have linked down below, which then redirects you to the official game itself. Assassin's Creed 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I fell in love with the character of Ezio, I fell in love with the gameplay itself, and it is, in my opinion, the pinnacle of the Assassin's Creed series. I know that is offensive to a lot of people who fell in love with Origins and Odyssey, but really this is what Assassin's Creed was for me. I fell in love with the franchise here, and I continue to love it to this day. So, if you want to get it for free on PC, which I highly recommend that you would, dive in, redeem it now on your Uplay account. But to round out today's show, of course, Minecraft is going to be released with ray-traced graphics playable this week. A public beta of Minecraft with RTX begins on April the 16th. Minecraft players will be able to see the game in a whole new light this week. Real-time ray tracing will come to its blocky worlds through a public beta on April the 16th, NVIDIA and Minecraft developer Mojang announced on Tuesday. Known as Minecraft with RTX, following the naming scheme of NVIDIA's line of graphics cards with hardware-based support for ray tracing, the visual revamp was revealed last August during Gamescom. It is a complete overhaul of the graphics, courtesy of a full path-traced rendering of the game. The look of everything, aside from a few exceptions such as particle effects, is based on a simulation of the way light behaves. That includes real-time calculations of reflections, shadows, and ambient occlusion. The beta will also bring physically based materials to Minecraft, a major upgrade that will expand the scope of the visual possibilities of the game. During a media briefing on Monday, an NVIDIA rep explained that standard materials in Minecraft only have two properties, color and opacity, while the physically based materials in Minecraft with RTX have six. In addition to color and opacity, blocks made of physically based materials can have height off of the block's surface and roughness, and can emit light or look metallic. This allows players to create objects and surfaces such as lava with a fiery glow, water that reflects light, and hardware floors with a polished gleam. As part of the beta, Minecraft with RTX will feature DLSS 2.0, the new iteration of NVIDIA's deep learning supersampling technology. DLSS uses AI to upscale games to higher resolutions, allowing an RTX GPU to, say, render a game at 1080p and output a 4K image that looks about as good as native 4K. In Minecraft with RTX, DLSS 2.0 can deliver a performance boost of 70%, according to NVIDIA. The company gave an example of the game running on an RTX 2060 and said that with DLSS 2.0 enabled, the frame rate jumps from just north of 30 to mid-50s. That's in the beta. There will likely be further optimizations before release. When the beta goes live on Thursday, 6 free maps of worlds created in Minecraft with RTX will be available to download from the Minecraft Marketplace. NVIDIA said that a handful of the leading community creators built the maps, including Of Temples and Totems, Imagination Island, Crystal Palace, Aquatic Adventure, Color, Light and Shadow, and Neon District. NVIDIA said that it is also publishing guides and tools that will enable creators to build their own ray-traced worlds. One of them is a video tutorial on Adobe Substance Painter for people who want to create their own blocks made of physically based materials. Another is an unofficial guide to convert worlds from the Java edition of Minecraft to the current Bedrock version of the game. And there you have a comparison of what you can expect to get. Of course, there's RTX Off, Classic Minecraft, RTX On, Beautiful Ray-Traced Impact. But overall, if you do want to dive in, you should be able to have an RTX GPU as well as an i5 or equivalent processor along with 8 gigabytes of RAM. And of course, in order to access the beta, Minecraft players will need to go to the Microsoft Store and download the Xbox Insider Hub. But very cool to see this is finally rolling out. Of course, the difference is mind-blowing. It really is something that is impressive, and it's going to give us a hint of what the next generation has in store. Of course, plenty of games right now have RTX enabled on PC, but to see how it can impact a world as simple as Minecraft shows the potential of this technology, and to be able to get your hands on that, to be able to experience that firsthand, is unlike anything a conversation can really drive home. But with that being said, that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed this one, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about the show as well as what we talked about today. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I will talk to you soon, and peace.